Welcome to Mishna study, Masechet Peah, Perek Daled, Mishnah Het. Over here now, Mishnah, we're going to speak on the same topic of Hekdesh. We're though going to now move from Peah, and we're going to digress for a second to speak about fruits. Kayotzebo, similarly, Hamakdish Pirotav at Shelo Ba'u Le'onat HaMa'asrot, Ufdayan Hayavin. Hekdishan at Shelo Nigmeru, Ubaran HaGizbar, Ve'achar Kach Pedayan, Peturim, Shebishat Chovaitan, Peturim. So similarly, if a person was makdish his fruits, right? So he donated his fruits to the Hekdesh before they reach the onat ma'asrot. So we'll need to explain what onat ma'asrot are. Rambam over here says before they reach the time when they would be obligated in ma'asrot. So if you look at the first perek in Masechet Ma'asrot, it goes through a list of many different fruits, and when each fruit hits its quote unquote ma'aser stage. Right, so it depends when each one becomes ripe. Once it becomes ripe, each fruit is a little bit different. When it reaches that stage, now it's obligated in Terumot Ma'asrot. So a person who donated his fruits to the Beit HaMikdash before they reach this stage of Ma'asrot and he redeemed them back, right? Again, before that stage, when it reached the Ma'asrot, Hayavin, he's going to be Hayav in giving Ma'aser. Why? Because when it reached that stage, it was in his possession, because he already redeemed it back. But, Hekdishan at Shelo Nigmeru, let's say a person donated them before they reached the stage. Ukmaran HaGizbar, right, literally means the treasury finished it, but Harabam explains over here, just language, it finished its, reached its ripening stage when it would have been obligated in Ma'asrot in the treasury's possession. And then he redeemed it back, right? So when did it reach its Chiyuv Ma'aser? It reached it in the Hekdesh's possession. Now with Hekdesh, again, it's patur from giving Ma'asrot. So even though he redeems it afterwards, he would be patur from Ma'asrot. Because the time it reached its obligatory stage for Ma'asrot, it was in someone's hands who are patur from giving Ma'aser. I would just point out that it's patur from giving Ma'aser, but pay attention, he did pay 20% more, right, to really he ends up coming out to 25%, but he ends up paying that much more in order to redeem them back, right? You can't just redeem it for the same cost. You need to pay an extra chomesh, an extra fifth to redeem them. So he's really not, there's no real loophole here if you're thinking there was a loophole. That's for one. Secondly, I would just point out that when we speak about it reached the onat ma'asrot, right? So that literally means it reached its stage when it's going to be Hayav and Ma'asrot. So Rambam explains that that's each fruit is different and based off the times given in Masechet Ma'asrot, in that first perek. Interestingly enough, Bartinur over here explains a little differently. He explains that it is talking about when it reaches the stage when we do Miruach HaKeri, right? Where we said we clean that pile of wheat, we flatten out that pile, and at that point, it becomes Hayav in Ma'asrot. I would say though that Bartuna is probably explaining like that because this whole perek is speaking about wheat, but over here, to Harambam's credit, the Mishnah clearly says pirotav, fruit, right, and not wheat. So Tosfot Yom Tov actually points out that Harambam seems much more correct over here in this Mishnah, much more appropriate perush, and actually this Mishnah repeats itself in Masechet Hala. And if you look at Masechet Hala, Bartinura also over there explains it as the fruit stage, right? When it reaches its stage in the as recorded in the first perek of Ma'asrot. So over there, in Masechet Hala, he actually is mefarish it like Harambam. I just wanted to point that out. And yeah, so that's a really continuation, right? It's a really flow of last Mishnah. So last Mishnah, we spoke about when is a person obligated in giving Peah when he donates it to the Hekdesh. Over here, our Mishnah speaks about when is a person obligated in Ma'asrot when he donates it to the Hekdesh.